One of the things I just really admire about Stewart is he is what I believe is prosperity, and the fact that he's following his bliss. He's uniting people through his vision, through his music, and most importantly, like the Velveteen Rabbit, he is real, he is loved. One of the most cherished things in the nursery, or in this case in our region, is to have our heroes and our local people reflect where we're at. Stewart, I'm just delighted that you've taken time from your schedule. I know you're in the midst of a tour right now. You've got both a new live album out, and then you've got your album, which your last album, I kind of borrowed the name for your talk here, called Motor City Serenade. You are truly a treasure, and we are honored to have you. Please give a warm roundtable welcome to Stewart Francke. Stewart?
What to expect coming here to speak to all of you, and I'm just delighted by the what I found here, the group of people. I mean, it's such a creative and unique group of people, full of fresh ideas and enthusiasm and excitement in a relatively difficult time. So it's really been sort of a redemptive thing for me already, just being here this short time. But the things I wanted to talk to you about. I guess I wanted to talk to you about a twin pair of ideas. One is survival, or a sense of overcoming, and the other is an idea of community, in a sense of borderless, enlightened community, which we all need to conduct business in, to conduct everything in, to make art in, to make music in. And I'm often called a survivor, I guess because I've survived both leukemia and a bone marrow transplant and the music back where you were. You become something new, something else. Times like a river, it doesn't double back and plop you right down where you were before something either bad or good happened. By exploring how I found my answer to those questions through, through love, humor, the human condition, medicine, guts, and music, I forgot about dying and learned how to really live. It was starting to go very well. I had a regional hit with a song called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and glowing reviews, and I was playing shows with Sheryl Crow, Warren Zevon, Stevie Winwood, Huey Lewis, a lot of other people. I was on the road and doing a lot of fun things. It was going really well. I was also the father of a 4- and a 2-year-old at that time. I had a wonderful wife, and was a loving son and brother. My life was filled with great joy and promise. But on that day, I was diagnosed with chronic myelogenous leukemia. And on that day, at the age of 39, I began living with the sudden, distinct possibility of death. Finding out that I had leukemia removed what I call, or what psychiatrists call, the illusion of immortality. Sort of an inherent and basic peace of mind we all walk around with. But the treatment for CML, the chronic myelogenous leukemia in my case, and the only chance for a cure was called an allogeneic stem cell transplant. It used to be called a bone marrow transplant, but the new name reflects a change in how the cells are harvested from donors. Instead of painfully extracting marrow from the hip, the process of stem cell collection now resembles a longer, more involved blood draw through the arm. That's the technique, but it doesn't capture the essence of the treatment. The hope with an allo transplant is to totally wipe out the patient's bone marrow, which is cancerous. That's what leukemia is. An immune system, because the immune system resides in the marrow, with high-dose chemotherapy, and then transplant stem cells from a genetically matched donor, as I said, in my case it was my sister, into the patient's body, leaving the patient disease-free with functioning bone marrow and an intact immune system. That's what's supposed to happen, anyway, in a perfect world. But the reality is messy and often grim. More than half of the allo patients do not survive the first year. Typically, it's not because cancer returns, it's due to complications resulting from the treatment. The cure, as they say, kills you. Speaking of the humor side of this thing, one time I was sitting in this is just after my transplant. I was sitting in a waiting room at Kerman. I was waiting to have a breathing treatment, a pentamidine treatment. And I was sitting just in a small waiting room, one of these rooms that are usually pretty beat up and kind of ugly, and just orange plastic chairs and a table in front of me with a red book, you know, and Ladies' Home Journal, whatever. And the only other person in the room was a really lovely older black woman sitting in the corner. And up in the corner here, in the far corner, this was 1999, I think, or maybe 2000, but was a TV of Bill Clinton testifying before Congress. You know, what the meaning of is. You remember that bit? And we were watching that for a minute. Both of us we had no hair, we had no health. You know, we were both so sick. I weighed nothing, and, you know, I still had a line in my chest. She had a line on her chest. We're both hanging onto our poles. It was winter, you know, and we're just like, ah. And all of a sudden, she looks up at Clinton. She's watching, and she goes, "Ain't it nice to see somebody who's more fucked than we are?" so I just thought, that's the gospel vision right there. That's taking it, you know, and taking what abuses us and moving it into something else. And this is a great expression of community in a business sense, or whatever. The fact that you guys gather once a month and you talk about your ideas and you meet and you get to know each other, and and I'm sure fruitful things come out of this all the time, because beautifully expressed common experience is rare today. Individual agenda is unfortunately our shared password, even when played out in a collective sense. Sometimes I think we're not living up to the implicit promise placed in our hearts, the promise that says we can recognize and share the details of our common struggles and work to make them a part of our past. There's currently a lot of these fresh names being tossed about, particularly we're talking about in the music business changing so much. They call it a new paradigm. The fact that major labels are fading away and artists are able to represent themselves, get music out to the people without the impediments of middlemen. So that business is changing. They call it a new paradigm, new model, whatever. To me, it's just a good idea. It's just a good idea whose time has come. Because the goal remains, even if the system and the media changes, the goal remains human connection through the magic of music and art. Artists identifying the pain we all have, ripping the scab off that pain, and then singing about it is, to me, has been throughout my life a cure for what hurt. It is beyond my level of understanding why some prayers are honored and others apparently are not, or are honored in ways we don't accept or see or expect or understand. Happiness, the thing we all are striving for, seems like a quality forever at our fingertips, yet we often take it for granted and find ourselves without it. We go to bed at night and barter with God for more years with nothing to offer in trade except our lives. But what really keeps us going? How do we make the most of it during this brief time we're here? What can you really count on in a slippery and uncertain world? The thing I found is there's a lot to be said for just hanging in there. Just show up and make sure your shoes match, you know? So I really want to thank you for having me here today. And I guess the last lesson I came away with is don't waste a minute or a word. And this seems redundant to talk to all of you about. You're here because you're motivated, you're driven, you've got great ideas, you want to affect the world, you want to affect change, you want to improve your own lives. So speaking to you has been just a real joy, and I look forward to talking to all of you more and meeting all of you more. But that's it. Even in our darkest moments, we hope. And some of you may be currently in the midst of your darkest moment. I don't know when I'm speaking to people. I don't know. So just try to hang in there and try to find something you can believe in. So again, thanks to Dean, and thanks for all of you. Thanks to all of you. Thank you very much.
I want to. Going to need both mics here. I have the rare occasion to have been to all 4+ years of these, and I have to say, no, you got to stand up here with me.
Stay here? All
yeah,
right.
stay here with me. I have to say that I've had professionals speak inspirationally. I've had all sorts of corporate leaders and experts in their fields, but yours was one of the most moving talks that we've ever had as part of Third
Thank you.
Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you
your
very much.
candor.
And I want to live between the crown and God. I want to live between the crown